Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the show Now. Today, we're going to be talking about trending issues, social issues affecting us as individuals and as a society. We're going to be going on another level with these wonderful personalities on the show. We're going to be climbing higher heights with them because men, they are legends, and then I know that I'll brainstorm them small, but yeah, they're going to do this right. So I am your host, Wisdom Godwin. Be right back after this break. Once again, I welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, on the show Nowwards. I am your host, Wisdom Godwin, and right now I have special guests in the house, special personalities on the show. So they're gonna be introducing themselves to us, cause me, I don't know them yet. So over to you.
Okay, my name is Felix Sullivan Williams. I'm known for many things, but currently I'm a banker working with Father Microfinance Bank. But beyond banking too, I'm also a research writer. I'm currently working on a journal publication called And Beyond Borders, Why the Nigerian Dreams to Live in Nigeria. It's a general ambition now for most young Nigerians to have this ambition of living in Nigeria. So that is what the journal explores. Thank you.
Okay, over to you.
Okay, my name is Can Outgrow, popularly known as UK.
Okay.
I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a tailor, yes, they call me the singing tailor. And also I'm a choir director. Okay, let's just leave all the other ones later.
Okay. So definitely by next year you're going to United Kingdoms, and then don't forget me when you get there. UK, yes. So we're going to be going straight into the topic of today, and today's topic is one of the most important issues we've been facing in this day and age. And over to you. What does a phase of depression and anxiety feel like? Like, what's the concept around that?
Okay, so for many people, it might be different for many people, but generally I know that depression is an extreme kind of sadness. So we have this general awareness in Nigeria that whenever you feel sad, you say it's depression. Gaga and find food and eat. Might just be hunger. So, except you are clinically diagnosed as being depressed, you can't tell fully that you're depressed. Well, for most depressed people, it's always this extreme form of sadness where you feel, okay, there's no hope again, there's nothing I can do again. So, you plunge into this several forms of anxiety. Okay, I'm not good enough. I think I should just take my life and get to that point in which I'm suicidal. So that's what depression is really.
Okay, so when you said that, okay, it's extreme. So a little thing as Sapa can get people over the age, because you just sit there and then a friend will call you up and be like, okay, I'm hungry, Sapa don't hold me, guy, I will go jump bridge. So is that depression, or is just the person like over exaggerating?
Well, I think when I said I made mention about Nigerians, so for us, whenever I'm going through people's statuses on WhatsApp, Facebook, and the rest, I get to say a whole lot of I'm feeling depressed. But I've actually been with a real depressed person before that was clinically diagnosed for depression.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different thing entirely. Like if you know what they call nihilism, like where life literally feels like it's nothing to you anymore. So the common form of depression, which I still think is sadness, so we tend to call depression in Nigeria, is more like, okay, so I'm broke, I don't have money, I'm feeling hungry, someone told me, okay, I don't like you as much as I think I like them, then give you some breakfast with job, so you think you're feeling depressed, but you're not feeling depressed actually, it's just, let me call it melancholy, it's melancholy.
No, but you know that breakfast can lead to something major.
Definitely, but what I would say is, I wouldn't think that all forms of breakup leads to that extreme form of depression. I think maybe it was already coming in the way in form of, okay, it happened during my childhood that, okay, I wasn't raised properly, and I've had that trauma since childhood. And the other cases in which maybe right from when you're in school, probably secondary school also, you had cases of bullying and so on and so forth. So what the breakfast might now do is to trigger it to an extent where it becomes full-blown depression.
So over to you, UK. Yes, that name is like, I want to go to UK right now, yes. So what's your concept around depression and anxiety?
Okay, first I'll say, pick some of the points he made. First, depression is not sadness, depression is not bereavement, depression is not grief. Just because of something happened and you're sad for a moment, you just go around and tell people I'm depressed and all whatnot. So I'm going to talk from a point of experience. Okay, I don't like telling people about this, but I think it will help people out there. My mother, I love my mom so much.
Yeah.
I used to tell people that if anything happens to that woman, I think something will happen, but we don't pray for anything bad. But my mom suffered from depression, like very strong depression. That okay, depression. Symptom of depression is first you lose appetite. Like my mom loves to eat, but all of a sudden she stopped. Does that time all of a sudden stop eating. The things she enjoyed doing, she stopped it. Like she doesn't like being around the family. So when we sit in the room, she goes elsewhere. At the point of depression, you withdraw from people, you withdraw from anything social. You just want to be by yourself. You just want to be loafing, just there. That's basically that. Then for anxiety, myself experienced that during the lockdown. It was very, very sad. So mine is quite funny though, but let me just fold my hands first. So there was this particular person that I loved so much, a lady, and I was
The butterflies.
I was really hoping that at the end of this day it was going to be me and this person and
Happy
life
ever
happened.
after.
You know, life would just happen, and situations was that I weighed everything. What I do is I look at the future and I do things. So I weighed the possibility of me and this person ending together, but then there was nothing close to me and the person ending together. So I just told myself that nothing, this thing no go work, and I was just still trying to. And then later she was like, she was ready for a relationship. Okay, then we were not ready for a relationship and all of this stuff, and she was ready. I wasn't ready for. She was ready, and she found someone that she liked, and man, it was really annoying. And another symptom for anxiety is you are just so afraid of the future. In my mind, I was like, last this girl was so married. I will take you for a marriage. All those things. I know if you got married, God, make something just for baby. Say, I know if you attend the marriage. It was really annoying. I lose appetite to eat. I could not sleep. I could not think. It was really, really bad. So that's basically what I think depression and anxiety is about from a point of experience.
Okay. So at that point, maybe you'd confide in someone. Yeah. So actually, we Nigerians in the Nigerian setting, we are religious. Yeah, we're known for the religious activities that occurs around us, and then we definitely channel a lot of energy to religion, to what we believe in, to our faith. So we feel like everything should be on our faith. We are depressed, we pray. We are depressed, we fast. So how is the scenario for you? Do you advise people to pray and fast, or go do the necessary? Because God gave us these things. What will you advise in this scenario?
From the standpoint of being a professional in guidance and counseling, it is okay. First, I am a believer. I am a Christian, and there are things for prayers, and there are things for you meet a professional. You are depressed. Please, we should clear this mindset that our pastor has answers to everything. You are depressed, you go meet your pastor, and your pastor will tell you to pray. While the reason for this thing is not something that you even necessarily have to pray about. See, there are things for prayers. Prayers can work for, like they say, prayer can answer anything, right? Yes, yeah. But you don't. Imagine that you are having serious stomach pain, and because you ate something that was wrong and you weren't supposed to eat, and you're like, oh Father God, heal my stomach, oh Father God, heal. You can go get drugs and help that issue. That is why you need to know the point where you have to go meet a therapist, meet a counselor, meet a psychologist, tell the person about your issues. They have professional solutions for that. Don't wait and go and say you want to. when you get depressed, really depressed, it will be hard for you to pray. Very, very hard for you to pray if you don't know. As in, it will be very, very hard for you. So you need to meet a professional and don't be alone by yourself. Reach out to people, talk to people that you trust, people that you know can help.
Over to you, Felix. So what's your take on that?
So basically, I said the shame points with UK. And I think that we've given too many responsibilities to Nigerian pastors. Marriage counselor, Nigerian pastor. Therapist, Nigerian pastor. Financial analyst, Nigerian pastor. So really what I'm saying in essence is, when it comes to cases like depression and anxiety, you meet a professional. I'm not totally downplaying religion in this. In fact, for me personally, I feel where religion comes in is in the part where I call solace. So I believe there's something greater than me, and if I'm able to commit my my pains and setbacks to Him, even if it doesn't necessarily happen that I'm healed because I prayed, at least for the fact that I did that, I feel better in a way. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't meet a professional. Meet a professional. That's what I was saying.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to you again. So you mentioned something about writing a book.
Okay.
Writing a book that has to do with Nigerians. Yes. The dream of every Nigerian is to leave Nigeria to abroad. Yeah. So I'm still going to coin on the concept of sakwa. That's a known thing in this part of the world. It don't touch everybody. It's a national cake. You top it one day. So going back to that, you know that depression isn't just something that comes up just in a day. It takes factors. So going back to that, you mentioned that Nigerians flee from Nigeria to other countries. That's the dream of every Nigerian. So how can that be stopped? How can that be stopped?
Okay, so basically there is just a tendency for human beings to survive. So migration is very, very natural. If I feel that my living conditions in a particular place is not favorable, the only option that I have might be to leave that environment. And sadly, that's what is happening in Nigeria. That's where the work is titled Beyond Borders, where the Nigerian dream is to leave Nigeria. So coming to Sakwa now, just in case I know Nigerian, Sakwa means being broke. Like you don't have money yet. So I think when it comes to economic instability or not having funds, can go a long way to determining how your mental health is. Like there are cases and scenarios where I'm literally feeling very sad and anxious, and someone sends me money like 2K, and the next thing I'm everywhere, like I'm jumping.
2K takes you a long way.
So I think money, being broke, goes a long way to determine how our mental health is, because what is money? It's not the paper per se. Money is just having that power to exchange value, having that power to get what you want. I feel like eating shawarma, but I don't have money to buy shawarma. How would you think I would feel? I think I should buy a course online, but I don't have money to buy that course online. How do you think I would feel? I'll feel sad, and that would definitely impact on my mental health. So when it comes to Sapa, please, the only way is to find out how to make money. Not that way.
Okay. Now, going into that concept of depression and anxiety, on one of the sessions on my show, I had the concept of low self-esteem. And then I discussed it with other personalities that were on the show. And then this has brought me to the point where, does low self-esteem really contribute to depression, or it's just at its own level? Because I've seen researches where the factors that cause low self-esteem are still the same factors causing depression. So is it a direct link, or there's some channel out there, like there's another channel for it? Like, is it a direct link between depression and low self-esteem?
Okay, I wouldn't really say there is a direct link.
Yeah.
But I think that one can be the necessary cause for the other. What I'm saying is that I think low self-esteem can lead to depression. Because if you're having inferiority complex, you're not feeling good about yourself, then definitely you might likely plunge into feeling depressed and sad. So I think one causes the other, but they might not be inextricably linked together.
Okay. You want to say anything?
You said everything.
Okay, so going into another question. Okay, I've been in a situation personally where someone said to me, you can grow out of depression. And that's very, very, because research has shown that the most of people that get depressed are people at their old age because of what they face at old age, the whole the illnesses and everything. You can't associate with people well because you're old. So some people say you can outgrow depression just like that. Is that possible?
For me, I don't think it's possible. The persons that do say that are persons that had never been in that state before.
Yeah.
You don't just wake up in the morning and just say, I don't want, I'm coming out of depression. Well, in point of being a Christian and exercising your faith and all of these things, I do all, but let's keep faith aside. Somebody that doesn't understand Bible stuff just wakes up in the morning and if I was depressed and somebody comes to me and tell me, yeah, I just stand up and I will feel more depressed. I feel I won't bet Simon and slap that person. Like it's very wrong for you to just say such a thing.
Yeah.
You don't just wake up and come out of depression. You have to go through treatment, therapy sessions. You have to go through. There is something that counselors call mindfulness. So it's like it's close to yoga or something. So you just have to do some breathing exercise to ease off stress and ease off some of those things. So you have to go through all of those things. There are processes to coming out of depression. You don't just because what led to the depression had been something that was okay, maybe it happened and it was there for a while and it took a whole lot of time for you to get into it. It doesn't just come like that. It happens as a result of trauma. It happens as a result of maybe someone's death that you just can't believe that this person is gone and all of this, and you've stayed in that thought for a very long period of time, and it has taken a whole lot out of you, and you just find yourself in a state where you're depressed. So depression is not something that you wake up and you become, like I said, it's a process into it. So there is a process out of it.
Yeah, like he said, there's a process to every single little thing. So back to you, Felix. On the concept of temperament, is temperament a yardstick for determining depression? Because most people feel that people who are sanguine in nature don't get depressed. People who are sanguine, they're all full of joy. They shouldn't get depressed. They're like joyful people. That most people who are melancholy are the people that are depressed because of their quietness most times. So is that a right thought, or what do you have to say on that?
Okay, what I have to say is the literature concerning personality and how it affects whether you get depressed or not mostly shows that people who are melancholic in nature, people who are aggressive, people who are disagreeable in nature, will most likely always get depressed than people who are much outgoing and open-minded. But it doesn't mean they don't get depressed. They do get depressed. Like, okay, let me use myself for example now. I wouldn't have been clinically depressed before, but let's have been very sad. And I'm very open. I like meeting people. Like literally every day I go out, I want to talk to someone new, I want to meet someone new. But there are days I go back to my house and I'm like, guy, like why is my life like this? Why am I doing this? Why shouldn't I be doing something else instead of doing this? So when it comes to personality, it doesn't determine if you get depressed or not. So like anyone can get depressed irrespective of whether you're a happy person or you're naturally, inside also,
Okay, this next question is gonna be funny. Have you ever felt depressed, like anxiety, when you eat, like you want to eat in public and then you having this kind of feeling that I should not open my mouth like this, someone is looking at me, someone's gonna know I'm anxious. So
I think the roots of such feeling is in having extreme self-awareness. Having self-awareness is a very good thing because you tend to know your boundaries, you know how you react to things, you know how to act in certain situations. But it gets to a point in which you're now, should I say, self-aware that you watch every movement you make. I'm trying to pick up this water bottle and I'm watching my hand fidgeting to get the water bottle. I'm looking at who's looking at me. Like all this might necessarily cause you to feeling anxious. But when it comes to eating in public, like me, like the chopping you, I don't look your face, you can't share this.
So how about you?
I try to avoid a scenario where people watch me eat if I am alone. So I just get the stuff and I leave. But if I'm with my friends, I do my thing. I eat. I know Sabi is cutlery, but I'm learning though. So I eat my chicken with my hand. If I have to buy beans in an eatery, I will eat the beans and the yam. That's when I'm with my friends.
Yeah.
But when I'm alone, I go to the house, I do my thing.
Okay.
And I also think feeling anxious about very primary mundane activities might result from the fact that, okay, I'm pretty much not really confident in myself in doing that particular thing. So for me personally, I don't like singing in public because I think I'm not a very good singer. But you could definitely sing in public. You can not eat in public, but me, I did chop, so I go chop in your room.
Okay, yeah, I get. So, what we have to say to the young ones out there, the audience out there on depression and anxiety, what's your advice for them in getting that all sorted out?
Okay, first I say don't jump into conclusion that you are suffering from anxiety, you're suffering from depression. And there is a difference between anxiety and anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
And that anxiety disorder is the senior brother of anxiety. So don't just wake up in the morning because you are sad that a guy left you and all of a sudden you say you're depressed. You can come out of all of those things. Or like she said, Sapa, you don't get money. See, I've been in states where I've not had money sometimes. The thing affects me. My own if I express, I don't cry, I don't get sad, I just get angry. So any small thing will just vex me like that and all. So you don't jump into conclusion that you're depressed or you're suffering from anxiety. Those are really, really deep things.
Yeah.
You need to ask questions. When you're going through stuff, please reach out to people. One way to avoid getting depressed, one way to avoid suffering from anxiety, reach out to people, talk to friends, hang out with people. Don't stay all by yourself. Because when you stay all by yourself, you are thinking with yourself and the devil is putting thoughts in your mind and you just probably would fall into being depressed or fall into depression.
Okay. So before I ask you to speak to the audience and advise them, I'd love to throw one last question at you. Is it a weakness to cry? I mean, because people feel like it's a weakness because there's some places you're in public and then something happens to you. You start feeling some kind of bitterness and then you're prompted to cry or to show out your emotions in some way, and then people think that it's weakness, it's like childishness to do that. Because most people feel like crying is not it's not right, especially in public. And then when it comes to the male figures, you don't cry, you don't dare cry in public now. Just go to your room, do that thing inside your room. So is it childishness or does it show weakness? Because that's how most people feel. They feel like you have to control it, just maintain, put the tears in, hold it, zip it up, just get to the house and cry. Don't cry yet. Yeah. And then the thing is aching you. You want to cry. So
first of all, crying is very natural. If it weren't natural, then we shouldn't be crying or wouldn't be crying at all. So for the mere fact that it's natural, then it's important for you to know that it's a biological response to pain. So when I feel like crying, it means I'm feeling pain in a way. It doesn't have to be physical pain, it can be mental or whatever kind of pain. So shedding tears is an outlet for you to relieve some of this tension. So, but in our society or in the world as a whole, we are sort of biased to males when it comes to crying. Like I'm not sure I've cried in public before. Like I don't think I still have that consciousness of crying that I don't even want to cry in public, even when I know it's natural. Like I can remember when back in secondary school, boarding school, they'll tell us to stand at the assembly or they'll flog all of us like thing is paining you, but you're now holding tears and walking like this. Or when you reach the hostel, like you're now crying everywhere, shedding tears everywhere, and it's more of that. So for male figures, tears shows weakness, and we've been evolutionarily ingrained with this idea of the fact that men should be strong pillars of societies. Men are not supposed to show weaknesses. Men are supposed to be the caretaker of their family. So imagine a situation where something happens, your wife is crying, your children are crying, and you also tell them are crying. Literally lost of control. So like for that fact, you need to be the strong one. You need to be the one that in which they derive their soul is strong. But it's natural to cry. Cry when you can. In fact, for most of us that can't cry, I actually do cry in my house. So for most of us that can't cry in public, wherever you can or howsoever you can at least lay off some tension when you feel whatever kind of pain, please do. If it's to cry, cry. Sometimes I play sad music for no reason. No one touched me, no one did anything. In the office, I'll just play sad music and tears are coming down from my eyes. And I feel okay.
Emotional.
Very okay, yeah.
Yeah, so what advice do you have for the public, for the audience and the young ones out there on anxiety and depression? What should be done?
Okay, so first of all, anxiety is this irrational fear probably doesn't have any explanation. Like I'm feeling fear for no reason at all. That's anxiety. So what I would say is anxiety and depression, or should I say sadness? So let me say depression are natural. You will always feel sad at some point. You will always feel anxious at some point. You can't always be happy all the time. You can't always be bold all the time.
Yeah.
So, but your response to these emotions now determines what you make of it, because I can probably be anxious, then I'll end up messing up myself out of anxiety. But at the same time, I can also be anxious, and I know what, it's a natural feeling. It's always going to happen. It's always going to come. But how do I now react to this? Then secondly, too, please don't buy into that idea of grow out of depression. You don't grow out of depression. What you do first of all is to accept that you are feeling depressed. Know why you're feeling depressed. Know the cause of your depression. Then gradually grow. I use the word grow again. Gradually evolve through that process of not being depressed anymore. You can't magically pray yourself out of depression.
Yeah.
But if it feels more difficult for you to handle, see a professional. Always see a professional.
So to my audience, we've come to the end of this show, and it's so not good for me. Though the atmosphere here is kind of, but let me do something. It's gonna be fun, shit. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'll catch you around. Yeah, I know I can't sing, but I'll not get depressed by the fact that I cannot sing. Yes, I'm not getting anxiety. The Holy Spirit just whispered to me that I just sang well. Yes, and then you loved it. So to my guest, I appreciate the fact that you made out time to be here today to talk to my wonderful audience, the beautiful and wonderful men out there who are not going to get depressed again, who are not going to suffer from SAPA and feel that they are depressed, who are not going to be served breakfast and they are saying they are depressed. So thank you for putting that out to us. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this show now. What for today's episode? I am your host, Wisdom Godwin. Follow my social handles. Click on the subscribe button. Definitely click on it. You will not be depressed anymore. You will not be depressed. Yes, it's an advertisement, an ad. Yes. See you next time.